In level 1, you wake up with the quiet hum of success around you. The house, the accounts, the status, familiar. A notification pings, a name you recognize, an article, a whisper that becomes a thread. You click, one small headline, then another. Facts you once trusted begin to wobble. Numbers don't add up the way they did yesterday. The foundation feels less like rock and more like sand. You hold your coffee and wait for the room to stop spinning. Calm curiosity at first, then the first prick of dread. You ask yourself a single question: could this be true? You were built to solve problems. You were built to scale. You learned the rules that let you climb. But what if the rule book was edited behind the scenes? What if the climb used shortcuts you never saw? The city hums on. Your phone buzzes again. You don't answer. You breathe. You decide to look closer. Not because you want to destroy what you built, but because truth matters more than comfort. Level 2. You gather documents, receipts, contracts, emails. A dossier begins to form on the table. At first, you search for gaps to explain away what you find. Human nature favors neat stories, yet the gaps multiply. A supplier who never existed, an invoice that loops back to a shell company, a donation routed through an intermediary. Little lies become a pattern. You call a colleague. They dodge. You message an old partner. Their reply is thin. Silences are loud. Your accountant schedules a meeting. Your lawyer sends a neutral reply. Evidence isn't a betrayal. It's a mirror. You realize you're staring into a version of your life that had pieces assembled by others. Parts you assumed were yours were leased, borrowed, or stolen. You feel like an actor discovering the stage is a painted set. The lights are real. The applause was real. But behind the curtain, empty scaffolding, you are left with two choices: walk away in stunned silence, or keep going until you understand every nail. You choose the latter. Level 3, pain arrives in quiet waves, not cinematic screams, a steady ache. Shame moves through your chest like winter. Guilt sits in the chair across from you. You replay decisions, moments you shrugged, choices you called practical. Faces flash in your mind. Employees whose paychecks you now question. Investors who trusted your pitch. Communities that benefited indirectly. You think of the people you love. Your partner who believed in builds and blueprints. Your children who might inherit a complicated legacy. Anger sparks at the architects of the lies. Anger at yourself for not looking harder. But anger is not a plan. Grief becomes clearer. Grief for the version of you that was pure intention. Grief for the good done with muddy hands. You allow the feelings. You don't let them drown you. You name them. You whisper facts aloud. This is the beginning of honesty. Level 4. Practical consequences arrive with a cold administrative tone. Auditors call. Reputations shift overnight. Your bank requests clarifications. Boards convene. Media asks questions you didn't invite. Some doors close quietly. Others slam. You calculate losses you never imagined. Cash flows reroute. Partners distance. Contracts pause. Legal teams become your new advisors. This isn't just money on paper. It's leverage melting. It's the erosion of trust that underpins every transaction. People you respected will ask you to step back. You might have to repay funds. Public apologies may be necessary. There will be hearings, there will be filings. But practical work is also a kind of therapy. You begin to map liabilities. You make a ledger for truth. You meet with those harmed, not to defend, but to listen, to learn what you cannot learn from spreadsheets. Level 5. You face moral reckoning. Wealth is suddenly not just an account balance, it's a story. Who benefited? Who was silenced? Who was ignored? You examine incentives, the decisions that let small harms compound. You ask hard questions of yourself. When did ambition outpace ethics? Who were you trying to impress? Who deserved better? This is work without shortcuts. Restitution is not a press release. Apology is not a strategy. They are the smallest first steps. You write lists, people to contact, communities to support, systems to change inside your company. You plan transparency measures, independent audits, whistleblower channels, a binding code of conduct. You decide if your wealth was compromised, your response must restore more than money. It must restore dignity. It must restore faith. Level 6 repair is a long road. You won't fix everything overnight. You set immediate priorities. First, secure what is needed to protect livelihoods. Payroll first, services next, families over optics. Second, work with investigators. Open books, no games. Third, offer remediation. Payments, programs, community investments. Fourth, restructure governance. New oversight, independent board members, clear reporting. Fifth, change incentives. Bonuses tied to ethical outcomes. Supply chains verified. You hire people whose job is to say no. You give them power. You expect resistance. Change always has friction. You will be criticized for moving too slow and for moving too fast. Both are part of the process. You remain steady. You keep your word. You publish results in plain language. You invite third parties to audit you. Transparency becomes your currency. Level 7, rebuilding is not erasing the past. It is living the truth forward. You learn to sleep with your conscience. You rebuild relationships slowly. Trust is earned, not declared. Some partnerships end, some deepen. You find new purpose in rebuilding systems. You turn profit into platform for repair. You create programs that empower those who were harmed. You invest in education, in community ownership, in legal support. Your balance sheet begins to look different. Numbers matter less than narrative. Your narrative becomes one of accountability. You discover humility is a surprising asset. People notice. Some forgive. Some don't. You accept both outcomes. You teach what you learned. Public talks, behind-the-scenes training, mentorship for founders. You aim to prevent what happened to you. In quiet moments, you measure success differently. Late-night phone calls from someone you helped. A small business that never collapsed. A family that kept their home. The slow return of trust. You realize wealth can be rebuilt on truth. It will be harder. It will be quieter. It will also be enduring. Final frame. This isn't a story of instant redemption. It's a map. A map for someone who woke up one morning and found a life built on lies. You now hold a choice. You can walk away and keep silence, or you can face it. Either way, life changes. But if you choose to act, you turn a broken foundation into a lesson that creates systems less likely to break. You are not the first to stumble. You won't be the last. What matters is what you do next. You take a breath. You pick up the ledger. You speak the names of those hurt. You listen. You repair. And in time, you watch a different kind of wealth rise. One built on truth. One that can be passed down without shame. You step forward.